I've heard on the grapevine, Mr. Chris White, that one of the year's biggest releases is very near to release.
Oh, splendid.
Me and you will be playing NieR Automata, if that's how you say it.
It
I'm
is,
not particularly sure. We'll get on that. It's from Platinum Games and someone else whose name escapes me. I don't want to get it wrong. Who's publishing it?
Square Enix.
We've both been playing it. It's rather weird and brilliant, isn't it, Chris?
It's like I don't want to get too excitable about it, but it genuinely is like one of my favourite games this year. After playing Horizon, thinking that was topping it, this is like up there. It's weird. It's so weird, and it's so like just fascinating. Every kind of facet of the game's fascinating, right from the combat to the story to the world. You know, the art style, everything about it is just fantastic, and the character 2B is just awesome, and it's just like it is crazy. I mean, we can't talk about story, but it's just nuts.
Yeah, it's so Japanese, as I often say about Japanese games that are very confusing to me. Yeah. Even if we could talk about the story, even if we wanted to talk about the story, because we obviously don't want to spoil you, I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about it anyway, because I have no idea what's going on. But it's cool. I mean, it's Platinum, so the combat is, expectedly just amazing and fluid and varied. The only other Platinum game I've ever played is Transformers, which I didn't find particularly that good. So going from that to this, I finally understand why people talk about Platinum in such high regard.
I mean, Bayonetta was ace. It was so much fun, and the combat is quite straightforward. You know, it follows a lot of kind of Japanese games where you've got the square and the triangle do all the kind of fight, and the square's obviously like your combo trigger, so you can press a square for a kick and a high kick, and then you can press a triangle at different interludes to kind of include the powerful kick sort of thing, or the powerful, attack with a weapon. Very, very straightforward, basically. But obviously you can as you go, you get different weapons and different upgrades to change what weapon you use. Because you can tag like the lighter swords to the square and then the stronger sword to the triangle, or the other way around, or you can use your fist and stuff like that. So I mean, it is quite straightforward, but that's what you need. You just want this fast, fluid game, and it isn't. It's not just about the gameplay itself, the fighting, the kind of the way it moves from. I mean, one of the things that blew me away was the way it moves from like this kind of 3D world where you're running around, camera behind you, like a lot of third persons, and then it'll skip to like a side scroller platformer, like a 2D platformer, where you're just going from one end of the screen to the other, and it just kind of, the camera angle works everywhere, and it just kind of, there's like the scenes when you've had these battles, and then you're running sideways, and in the distance you've got this beautifully designed backdrop, and it's just such a bleak world, but there's so much kind of, without sounding like a idiot, like real beauty in it. The way it's kind of designed, like it follows games like a bit like The Last of Us and Enslaved. You know, the overgrown city, and the grass is just growing, and there's wild animals living in the world, and then you've got these machines which are kind of taking over everywhere, and it just ranges so much from what you're doing. You end up fighting like a small kind of gaggle of robots, if that's not the correct term, and then you'll fight some huge, massive machine, and it's proper Japanese kind of the bombastic nature of a lot of their animes and stuff, and it's just
100%.
It's so much fun, and the character I mentioned, the 2B, she's so cool, and like she's got all these different moves, and she's quite an interesting character as well. Where obviously we can say they're androids, and they're tasked with these missions, but it's not as straightforward as that, and there's just a lot to it, and it is crazy, and it's a nut story, but it's a very kind of intriguing one, and there's so much going on that it's just really good fun, and really, really well told.
Yeah, to me it's a lot more than what I thought it would be. So I played the demo. I've played it a couple of times. I can't remember where I played it first. Must have been some event or something. And obviously I played it when it got released on PlayStation to have another go at it. And when I first played the demo, I thought it'd be very kind of serious, and when you get into the full game, it opens up, and the whole different characters come at you, and the different scenarios, and some of the different places you go to. I mean, and how the story does kind of like unwind
Yeah.
and what you learn about the world you're in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The way that came
Yeah.
came out of nowhere really at one particular place. It just hit me so much. Like I didn't think the saving thing kind of annoyed me at first because I was playing through it and I had to go and make tea or whatever. Then when I come back with PlayStation, I got into rest mode and it had fucking gone off, so I had to go all back to the beginning. So I just hadn't had a chance to save yet.
Yeah.
So I rinsed all the way back through it.
Yeah.
And I actually can't remember what this point was gonna be. Oh, that's it. I was playing it while listening to podcasts while I rinsed through it.
Ah, yeah.
Just to get back through it, just because I've already seen this bit. And then when I got to this particular part, I had to like stop and like take it all in because it was such a surprise, and it's really cool. I mean, there's so like as I say, I thought it was quite po-faced the demo, but when you get into the actual game, there's so much quirky humour and real charm and weirdness and quirkiness. It's really cool. And as I said, the combat, what I kind of like about it is that it's simple. So it's two buttons, and then you can use circle to do like a kind of finisher.
Yeah.
You have your little robot that shoots things.
Yeah. Yeah. He's awesome.
Oh, he's a nice little guy. But it's simple, but you can build on it. It's all about timings and button presses and orders, and like I'm not a fighting game expert or anything like that. I'm just literally just mashing buttons and trying to see what I come up with. But at points when you the most important, the biggest tool in NieR is the dodge. So the boost button, if you've played the demo, the right trigger is also the dodge button, and if you time it right when an enemy attacks, you kind of like teleport around them, and then if you attack right out of a teleport, you go into a mad attack.
Yeah.
And just all the different buttons, as you say, moving the weapons to different buttons and stuff like that, it makes some really, really visceral, that wanky word, combos that are really just kick ass. Like you can just, in like a blaze of fury, you can just wipe out a whole gaggle of robots, and in like 2 seconds flat, you don't actually see you take any of them out, they're just gone. It's really cool.
I mean, there's
someone who has no kind of connection to this or Platinum games really, or any kind of Japanese games beyond like Persona or Danganronpa. Yeah, it's really, really enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things a couple more things I want to talk about. Is one is the kind of you've got different kind of chips or pods or whatever they're called to change your kind of the way you're built. So there's like, do you know what I mean? You know, there's like from A to D. There's different kind of pod setups which you can change.
Well, I'll be honest with you. This there's a bit of it that does confuse me. I feel like the upgrading and then items and different things you can use is a little obtuse. I mean, I think I've played it for 3 hours or so. Yeah. It doesn't explain really anything.
It doesn't explain anything. You're right. You kind of just.
Some people might like that, but to me, sometimes I do like my hand being held. Sometimes I've got to admit,
it's kind of quite.
You don't have time for that.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I mean, it's quite smart how these different pods can be set up with a maximum. I think it's 40 chips. So, for instance, you can put in one that it lets you see how much XP you're gaining from beating up the enemies. There's another chip you can put in which is like 3 spaces, which lets you see the health of the enemies. And there's loads of different kind of ones that make up your system, and you can interchange them. There's also one cool little one which you can remove, and it makes you self-destruct. Like there's just stupid little things like this that just make the game just quirky and cool. Yeah. And then the other.
Yeah, I definitely need to delve into that more.
It's really clever. We've not talked about like the kind of bullet hell element to it, and when you're in your suit and you're flying around, and it kind of goes into that kind of like a twin stick shooter almost, where you've got all these bullets flying at you from all angles, and you're in like your mech suit, and you're just trying to take them out, and it's just like you go from that to flying around to then walking through this world, and it's just so well put together, and it's just really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising to me how much there is to this game. There's a lot more depth than what you might realise from if you've played the demo or just seen any promotional material. I think it will take quite a few people by surprise because there's just different environments. And the world is really intriguing, and it's really cool setup. A couple of nitpicks for me. Performance isn't the best in the world. I don't know if a patch is coming or anything like that, but a couple of frame rate drops here and there. Nothing, obscene or anything like that. My biggest gripe really is that there's a lot of invisible walls, and like You know, you try and jump through. You look, there's a building. Let me look in there. There's just an invisible wall. Little annoying, you know. But
no, you're right.
All the positives outweigh it.
Yeah, definitely. But you're right. The kind of the open world element. It doesn't feel typically like an open world. Like you can run around this big area, but there are rocks which you think, right, my objective just over those rocks. I am jumping higher than the rocks, but I can't get past. It can be frustrating, but again,
navigating's a little hard.
You're right. You know but the positives do outweigh the negatives, and there's so many kind of nods to different franchises and stuff which are awesome. Like there's the kind of nod throughout is Metal Gear. There's even the sound of your your comm that comes up, it makes the same beeping sound as the codec in Metal Gear. And it's just so awesome. Like it's just such a good game. And if you like kind of your science fiction, your kind of Japanese animes like your Ghost in the Shells and stuff like that, so definitely give it a go because it's just so cool and just so much fun, and it's so easy to kind of get used to. And again, we can't talk the story, but the story is amazing. So give it a go. And I know you've got Zelda out there and Horizon, but don't miss out on playing this because it's really good.
Yeah, March is definitely an obscenely busy month. Definitely not Mass Effect in 2 weeks, but try and make room for NieR in your busy life if you can, because it's pretty good. Like I say, I'm not a fan of these type of games per se. I've never really played them, no experience, and Chris is a lot more than me, so it fits all audiences. Check it out. If you want to read about NieR, you can check out Chris's review, which should be live now, and hopefully I'll have some tips going up either now or quite soon to give you a little bit of a helping hand when you're starting out in this weird and wacky world. You know, you can check them out on godisageek.com. You should read it, and because we're sick. Also, go to youtube.com/godisageek, which you're already on. Hit that subscribe button. Loads of videos, loads of different analysis of the Nintendo Switch, no less, and all the new games that are coming out this month. You can follow me on Twitter @Mabroski. Follow Chris on Twitter @FistofEdge83. You can follow us all on Twitter @godisageek. And of course, if you'd be so kind, please go over to patreon.com/godisageek and donate as little as $1 a month. That is like 80p. I shit 80p. Every time I go for a shite, it's nothing. So please, it's nothing to you, but it's everything to us, and we really appreciate it. So, thank you, and see you later.